Hello. Thanks for being here. I'm sitting outside on I would say it's almost a Goldilocks day. There's a gentle breeze. You might be able to hear the wind a little bit. The sun is out. It's one of those times that the temperature, well, it's like, well, it's not too hot, it's not too cold. Just like a Goldilocks day. And if it didn't have a breeze, maybe it would be a little warm, but it's quite pleasant out here. Anyway, I'm pondering. I really try not to do foolish things. And I hate when I can't find things. And I found myself in a situation where I can't find something, which makes what I need to do seem kind of foolish, but yet I must do it. But I will sort it out afterwards, because the thing that I can't find I will find, and everything will be just dandy. So what is it I could possibly be speaking of? Well, it's like this. Some time ago, I was testing disk drives. I mean, I've tested a lot of them, endlessly. But anyway, I had a couple of SFD-1001s, and what they are a disk drive that looks like a 1541, but is really half of an 8250. So the interface is IEEE, not the serial like the 64 has, but the drive, like the case and other such things, are the same as the 1541. But it would hold about, I'm trying to think now, 6 times as much? Maybe more than that. Anyway, an 8250 is an 8050 that's double-sided. So the SFD-1001, and I don't know how they ever came up with this name, is half of an 8250, because an 8250 was a dual drive, which are beautiful and magical. 2 drives sitting next to each other, drive 0, drive 1. Best thing in the world is the backup command, or the copy command. Oh, so magical. Anyway, but an SFD-1001 is half of an 8250. And they're kind of, I don't know how rare, but they're kind of sought after a little bit. But anyway, I had 2 SFD-1001s. And one of them, I suspect what's happened is the read-write head has crapped out, and that means the drive mechanism itself is just toast. It's just done. So I believe the circuit board was fine, and certainly the power supply and the rack, or the rail that everything goes on, was just fine. So I set aside the dead disk drive, which I have found. I have not tested it again, but I know it's dead. I remember from my testing. I did all kinds of things. The mechanism. It would move, but it would not read, it would not write. I cleaned it, I did all the stuff. Anyway. I haven't found the case, but I should have that somewhere. But I don't know where. But you see, long ago, thinking that somebody somewhere might need the rack, rail, and power supply, I listed this on eBay. And it's been relisted a number of times, and no one's made an offer, and I really kind of forgot about it. But, you know, once in a while I would relist it. Well, somebody bought it. And here is where the trouble comes. I can't find it. I know I have it. I can't find it. So I wrote to them wondering if perhaps a, you know, the mechanism or the stuff from another drive might do, but they really want the original, and that makes sense. That's what I advertise and what they deserve. So, what I'm going to do in a little while, not right now because the sun is out and the lighting would be bad, I'm going to take my working SFD-1001 apart so that I can send the power supply and the mounting stuff to this person who has bought this. Now, I'm pretty sure that if I take the circuit board and the drive from the SFD and I put it with another power supply from even a 1541 or a 2031, that it should be fine, it will be dandy, it will work, they're the same, I think. And I know, like I've been kind of looking around, trying to get this figured out as to where is this thing that I know I have. And I know, full well, as soon as I go and do this, take this whole thing apart and try and make it all work on another power supply, which it will work, I'm sure, that I am going to find the original power supply that I was looking for. I know it. But it's just one of those things. So as I say, I try not to be foolish, and I try not to lose things, and I try to know where things are. But in this case, I don't know where it is. It could be possible that I have too much stuff. Possibly. I do have good news, though. If you've been watching my recent videos, I did ship a Commodore 64 away. Today. So that's one less. Of course, I may have found another one today, so that would put it right back where it started. Perhaps. Anyway, I don't know if I'm going to pursue it or not. So in a little while, and I will video it, I will take the SFD-1001 apart and find a suitable box and suitable packing material and send this on its way. And if I do find, and I know I will find, the right power supply and metal part, I will reunite it with the rest of the SFD and I will carry on. I will. But it just, I try not to do dumb things. A basketball coach, I think, very simple saying, don't do dumb things. Anyway, I have a good system for things that I list, and I have, like, banker's boxes that I put things in, and I mark on the box what's in it. And, you know, I really don't think I did this in this case. I think I just had it sitting around. Mostly, if you've been watching for a while, you know I've been filming in the pool room for a while. So, yeah. Anyway, in the next moment, once I stop recording this, and once the sun goes down a little bit, I will start to take the SFD-1001 apart, so I can fulfill my obligations on eBay. And, well, at least, I mean, one thing I will figure out is, are the power supplies the same? Are they compatible? Can I just use the one from a 1541, or a 2031, or, gee, I think maybe for the plus 4 they made one called the 1551, maybe. But really, the internals and the rack, depending on the age, should be the same. You see the rack in there, the metal frame part, when 1541 was first made, the circuit board was as long as the disk drive. Then they got it shorter. Maybe about 2/3 the length. And then they got it shorter, it's maybe a little less than half the length of the original. But, you see, when they do these things, there are places to secure things too. Basically little tabs that are left on the thing. So you can always tell ones that kind of came along in the midst of it, because they will have extra tabs that they really don't need, but they had there because they were still making them that way, because that's the way they needed them up until then. So that is the thing I guess I will find out, and I guess that's what this fellow wants. He wants the original from an SFD so that everything lines up just tickety-boo. So, yes, I'm between a rock and a rock. I like this rock, by the way. I don't know what it's made of, but it has a nice, deep hue to it. It does. Anyway, if you have any comments, if you happen to see this, about compatibility and anything else, don't hesitate to comment. And I will continue to try and not do bad and foolish things. I will. This time, just didn't go so well. It did not. Perhaps... oh, that's tight. Perhaps it is time to go in the pool and cool off. Perhaps not. Anyway, stay tuned for the demolition and reconstruction and resurrection, etc., etc., etc. Bye for now.
Here we have an SFD 1001. Now, let's in there. Anyway, so see, turn down door. The actual, these here levers are the same as what is on some of the dual drives that came out, which I've never had one. I know people who have, but the lever is different. It's got a little screw hole thing here. So for people who are missing them, the levers, the SFD, can be a donor for at least that. And somewhere, actually I did find the dead drive mechanism for the SFD, but I have not done anything. And if you look at the back, you will see, there it is, IEEE, not serial. Too bad Commodore never made a drive that had both. Oh well. So I'm going to very carefully turn this over. Now one thing I do find with this drive, hello, I'm not making good contact in here. Maybe I've lost a screw. This seems to be going okay. This drive does seem heavier than a 1541. Not that I have ever weighed them, because I have not, but it just seems heavier, so I guess soon enough I'll see if there's any vast differences inside that I have forgotten. Now, is there a screw in that hole? I don't know. It didn't really feel like it made good contact there. Whoa. Let's see what we have. Oh yeah, there was two. Hello. Well, I have two. Okay, so I guess I didn't quite get this one undone as much as I might. What do we do? So, are we done? Or not done? Oh. Ah, right. It slides back. So there is the lid, which seems to me to make a great place to put some screws. Whew. Oh yeah. It's all coming back to me now. This circuit board, oh, is that another, nope, another screw. This circuit board is quite a bit longer and more involved than certainly the later SFDs. And when I look at the power connector, I'm not just sure if that is at all the same as the 1541s. I'm just not sure. But to me, just in first glance, it looks a little thinner. So, maybe I will have to find the missing power supply and mounting system to get this all back together and have a working drive. And I know I have it somewhere. I know it. I just don't know where. Wouldn't it be interesting if the yeah, this looks thinner. It just does, but I'll have to check. Anyway, wouldn't it be interesting if the what is this thing? Probably an LED something. What am I saying? Wouldn't it be interesting if the very first 1541s had what was needed to make this happy? Wouldn't it be? Alright, so we have some connectors to disconnect. Of course, there are two read-write heads because it is double-sided. So with great care and reverence, the circuit board is set free. I will set that with great care into the lid. Now, yeah, this does look more involved. Okay, so now we have some more screws to deal with. And we have to get them out before the disk drive mechanism can be removed. Because the whole thing has to come out of the bottom of the case. Maybe that one just finally fell out. Anyway, yeah, this power supply is heavier. It is. I'm suspecting a 1541 would not step in. So I think my thoughts of trying one are just that, thoughts. It will not happen. So I think I'm just about there. But this should come out. It's holding on. Oh, right. The LED thing. Okay. So, very delicately, there are screws to deal with. We do not want to lose any. There would be 6. Hello. Okay. So now the actual drive mechanism must come out. And of course, there are more screws. I don't see one there. Perhaps it is through the hole. Yep, there it is. You know, of course, as soon as I get this done, I will find the missing assembly, I believe. Well, that screw doesn't want to come out. I don't want to drop this. I really, really, really don't want to drop this. Alright. The last, I think, screw. So that means now there are two screws that did not come out. They came out, but they haven't come out. Okay. There's one. There's two. So there we have it. Yeah, this is quite different. I think I'll set the disk drive very carefully in there. I think so. Here is indeed the power. Ooh, yeah, that is heavy. Heavy, 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 heavy. And yeah, quite different than the 1541. Similar switch, similar plug, similar fuse, but that's where things change. For example, like this does not exist on a 1541, and this I'm sure is a different size. I'm just trying to have a little look here. Yes. Alright, well, we have done what we set out to do, and that is remove this from the SFD so that I can send it off, because of course I have a spare one somewhere. Somewhere I do, but where I don't know. So one thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to look for some little plastic bags to put these varying screws in, because even though they're all kind of, well, they're all out of the same thing, and they all, the heads, the screwdriver will work, there are, I can see already, there's some that are fine threads, some that are not so fine threads, and I will try and keep them all together. So here we have it. By the way, the reason this fellow is looking for this power supply is, I guess he got an SFD-1001 that came from Europe. And of course the power supplies over there run on like 220 or 240 or whatever. So he is looking to rebuild. And I'm here to help him. So just look on the bottom for a moment. Yeah, as you can see, very different, very much more involved than one for a 1541, and with extra wires. Alright, so as I say, I try not to do foolish things, but you know, things happen. So, time to look for some bags for the screws. Hello. Well, here we have the screws. First, here are 4 screws. They are the ones that hold the top and the bottom of the case together. So they're going to go into one sandwich bag. I wish I had smaller bags, but I don't, so be it. And there are 7 of these screws. These are the ones that hold the circuit board in place. So it is safe. Now, these 6 screws are the ones that hold the power supply to the bottom of the case. And into their baggie they go. And finally, these 4 are the ones that, there we go, they're the ones that hold the disk drive into the mounting rail. They do. So, now I will take all of these bags and put them in one bag, so they're all together. So, like, when it comes time, when I find the proper power supply, the spare one, but then I will be all ready to reassemble this and use this drive. At least that is the plan. Alright, so, time to find a suitable box for this and get it on its way. The fellow has been most patient, as you know. The world is a crazy place in many ways, and people are sick. And I do believe I hear a motorcycle in the distance, so maybe it's time to put a stop to this and see about getting it packed up. Yes, I believe that was a motorcycle. Anyway, thanks for being here. The other thing, of course, I must be very careful to do is to put all the pieces of this SFD carefully aside so I don't lose it and don't end up with the different parts at different places, and then when I do find the power supply that I need to put it all back together, then I'm able to find everything to put it back together. Yeah. Anyway, onward.